which I shall invite the Leader of the House to move. I have a very short statement to make. I am pleased to report to the House that the Government's motion for tomorrow's debate complies with the tests set out in the 24th edition of Erskine May on page 397, that motions which are the same or substantially the same must not be put to the House more than once in a parliamentary session. The previous meaningful vote motion encompassed both the withdrawal agreement and the political declaration. This motion covers the former but not the latter. I am glad that the principle of the House determining a motion definitively, once and for all in each session, has been accepted and upheld, and that that principle cannot be circumvented by the assertion of a notwithstanding clause or even a paving motion. In short, the motion is new, substantially different, and in conformity with the requirements of my ruling of the 18th of March, reiterated on the 25th and 27th of March. We come now to the sittings motion. I call the Leader of the House, Andrea Leadsom.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move the motion standing in the name of my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, which has now been tabled. Can I start by saying that I recognise that changes to the sittings of the House, agreed at short notice, can create inconvenience to members and their constituents. I know how important constituency work is to all of us, and I do regret not being able to give more notice. I do, however, believe that all our constituents expect the House to continue to make progress at this crucial time. To be of assistance to the House, I can again confirm that should the House agree this motion, it is intended that the sitting hours tomorrow will be the same as for a normal sitting Friday, with the House sitting from 9:30 a.m. and the moment of interruption at 2:30 p.m. Should any urgent questions be allowed, these would take place from 11 a.m. and the debate would resume following those urgent questions in the usual way. As I said earlier today in my business statement, I also join those who recognise the hard work and dedication of the staff of the House and of our civil servants. I thank them for their support to us in this place, and I'm very grateful to them in advance for their work tomorrow should this motion be agreed. As I said to the House during my business statement earlier today, the motion tabled by the Government this afternoon has been prepared in order that it complies with your ruling, Mr. Speaker, whilst also reflecting that the European Union will only agree to an extension to Article 50 until the 22nd of May if the withdrawal agreement is approved by 11 p.m. on the 29th of March. It's crucial, therefore, that we make every effort to give effect to the Council's decision, and tomorrow's motion gives Parliament the opportunity to secure that extension. I think we can all agree that we don't want to be in the situation of asking for another extension and facing the potential requirement of participating in European Parliament elections. I'll give way.
Could she just read out the motion so that we know what we're going to be debating tomorrow?
Well, I can say to the honourable gentleman that the motion has been tabled and he'll be able to receive it in the table office. I'm happy to read out. It is quite lengthy, so if honourable members will bear with me. That this House notes the European Council decision of the 22nd of March 2019, taken in agreement with the United Kingdom, extending the period under Article 53 of the Treaty on European Union, which provides for an extension to the Article 50 period to the 22nd of May 2019, only if the House of Commons approves the withdrawal agreement by the 29th of March 2019. Notes that if the House does not do so by that date, the Article 50 period will only, as a matter of law, be extended to the 12th of April 2019, and that any extension beyond the 22nd of May 2019 would require the UK to bring forward the necessary day of poll order to hold elections to the European Parliament. notes that Article 184 of the Withdrawal Agreement refers to the political declaration between the UK and EU agreed on the 25th of November 2018, but that the EU has stated it remains open to negotiating changes to the political declaration. Notes that the House is currently undertaking deliberations to identify whether there is a design for the future relationship that commands its support. Notes that even should changes be sought to the political declaration, leaving the European Union with a deal still requires the withdrawal agreement. Declares that it wishes to leave the EU with an agreement as soon as possible and does not wish to have a longer extension. Therefore, approves the withdrawal agreement, the joint instrument and the unilateral declaration laid before the House on the 11th of March 2019 so that the UK can leave the EU on the 22nd of May 2019. Notes that this approval does not by itself meet the requirements of Section 13(1)(b) of the European Union Withdrawal Act, and resolves that it is content to proceed to the next steps of this process, including fulfilling Section 13 of this Act. I'll give way to the honourable gentleman.
I'm grateful, and I note that the motion that the government intends to lay does solely talk about the withdrawal agreement and not the political declaration. Has she had any thoughts or information as to whether an amendment which included the political declaration would be acceptable or in order?
Well, the honourable gentleman will be aware that motions are amendable and that selection of amendments is a matter for the Speaker. I've given way. I'll give way.
I just want to be clear. I'm really grateful to her for reading it all out. I think that is helpful for the House. But so far as I understand it, therefore, the government, if the motion were carried tomorrow, would not be able to ratify the withdrawal agreement treaty. Is that correct?
No, what it would mean is that the withdrawal agreement bill would then be before this House. Yes. So I think, Mr. Speaker, that we can all agree that we don't want to be in the situation of asking for another extension and facing the potential requirement of participating in European Parliament elections. I'll give way to the...
I'm at a loss to understand how this House can enact a law and put into law through the EU Withdrawal Act, Section 13 of the EU Withdrawal Act, and how the government can come and offer us only one part of that act. Can she say what legal advice she has had as to whether what she is doing is legal?
Well, the honourable lady will appreciate that Mr. Speaker's ruling ensured that this would not be a meaningful vote, and therefore she will also appreciate that since it is for this Parliament to decide on the laws and any amendments to the laws, it will be a matter for the discussion tomorrow, followed by the discussion during the withdrawal agreement bill, should that be approved, to rectify any outstanding matters. So I really do encourage all honourable and right honourable members to support this motion of the House so that we can leave the EU in an orderly way that gives businesses and people the certainty that they need. Turning to the amendment that has been tabled by the Shadow Leader of the House and the Opposition Chief Whip, it may help the House and provide some reassurance to the honourable lady if I can confirm that we will be sitting tomorrow with a very clear purpose, just one moment, with a very clear purpose in mind, so that the House has the time to debate the motion tabled by the government this afternoon. That is our only intention for tomorrow's sitting. I'll give way to my majority.
Grateful to my right honourable friend. Article 184 of the withdrawal agreement itself refers to the political declaration, and they cannot be separated, so that if the political declaration is later changed, the withdrawal agreement would need reapproval. I accept the ruling of the Speaker with regard to this question, but on the substance of the question, I just make that point because it is going to be very important for the debate tomorrow.
What I can assure my honourable friend is that what this motion seeks to do is to ensure that we can meet the requirements of the EU Council for the extension that will enable us to then consider these matters further. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I very much hope that the House can support this motion and that it will agree to sit tomorrow so that we can make the important decisions the country expects us to take in their interest. I commend this motion to the House.